What is good, MexitPlanners? Your emergency rooms in Merida, Mexico be like Chris Tucker on House Party 3. Same time, man. Yo, recently I had to take a family member to the emergency room here in Merida, Mexico. And I can tell you that this experience is very different than what you're used to in the United States. We were on our way to Faro, which is one of the newest hospitals. It opened up last year, right before the pandemic, and it is state of the art. It is one of the nicest hospitals in the city. However, because we were near Centro, we really didn't have the time to go all the way up to Faro. We really had to go directly to the closest emergency room. And I remember hearing about EME RED, which is one of the newest hospitals to open up recently. They built the hospital prior to the pandemic, but I believe they just opened in the last few months. And it was built for medical tourism. So I knew that that hospital was fairly close to where we were. And so we headed directly over to EME RED. Now I gotta tell you, the experience at EME RED from the very beginning, we pulled into the parking lot, we valet parked the car, they sanitized our hands and checked our temperatures and took the patient away immediately for care. Once we went inside and they got the patient situated in a triage room, we started filling out the paperwork for, you know, the regular stuff, your name, your date of birth, all of those types of things, any allergies, etc. Just the basic routine paperwork that they need in order to treat you. Not once did they ask for any payment, but one of the things that I noticed plastered around the emergency room is that they take all U.S. insurance. Now, this is very, very different and something I'd never seen before. This is my second visit to an emergency room, and I had not seen that before. So I'll get to that more a little later. But 90 minutes or so after, you know, processing paperwork, they were able to determine that a CAT scan was needed. So immediately they rushed the patient off to the CAT scan room. They took a CAT scan. About 5 minutes later, they came back and had the images and could determine that, yeah, this is something serious and we need to go ahead and do a surgery. This is incredible timing. I cannot believe that, you know, you could get a CAT scan. In the States, that would not have been the case, right? In the States, you would have had to schedule a visit for a CAT scan. Maybe in the emergency room, you could have got one quickly, but still, it probably would have taken hours instead of minutes in order to, you know, to perform the CAT scan and then have a radiologist or whoever read the CAT scan in order to tell the doctor what they needed to know. All of this happened within minutes here in Merida at EME RED. So a surgery was needed and it was actually scheduled for the next morning. So once it was determined that surgery was needed, they then requested additional information about insurance. In this case, the insurance was a U.S. carrier, one of the major carriers that's in the United States. Many people have them, or many states, they have one of these carriers. And so it was a process of the administration at the hospital going through to get an approval for the surgery. Little known to us, they came back and said, hey, this surgery is going to be covered 100% because it's an emergency surgery, it's a needed situation, and your insurance carrier is going to cover this coverage 100%. So that was awesome. That was an outstanding result, and it really didn't take more than probably an hour for them to get the approval and process everything. And they really just took the insurance card and went to work on getting the claim processed. So that was a huge surprise for us that this Mexican hospital here in Merida, Mexico would take a US based insurance carrier. So I want to talk to you more about this insurance part a little bit later, but I want to continue the story. So after the guy came back and said the insurance would cover 100% of the procedure and everything, they set up a private room. Now, this private room was probably one of the nicest private hotel rooms I had ever been in. And also the patient said the exact same thing. This thing had a flat screen, a huge flat screen TV with Netflix and streaming services. It had, you know, semi-comfortable furniture, more comfortable furniture than what I experienced when my wife gave birth to my daughter in the hospital. So it was really a really nice, comfortable room. And the bathroom was like any hotel bathroom, but it was ADA accessible, so you could roll a wheelchair in. It was just really nice accommodations. And the treatment was around the clock. They attended to the patient and made sure they had everything they needed. They had food once they could eat after the surgery. Everything went smooth with the surgery. It was a huge success. So everybody is safe and sound. But one of the coolest things about this whole process was the fact that it was paid for 100% by the U.S. insurance. Now, fast forward to the day of release. The release time was supposed to be at 11 o'clock a.m. Following the surgery, and or actually a day after the surgery. And so that got a little delayed because of something we didn't know until much later, that they were waiting to receive payment. The insurance companies here in Mexico are like Cuba Gooding Jr. and Jerry Maguire. Show me the money. No, show me the money. Show me the money. Show me the money. Say it. Say it with me. Show me the money. That's exactly how they are. They want to see the money. They don't play when it comes to releasing patients. So they didn't release the patient until they knew that they had the money, or at least the money was on the way, verified with the insurance in their account. So that is one of the craziest things about insurance here. And this is my second go around with an emergency room visit. The first time was at a public hospital, and it was a very different scenario. Even though the person had a U.S. Insurance carrier that guaranteed that they would pay 10 times whatever the bill was, the insurance, the hospital simply would not recognize that coverage. So we had, or a friend of the patient had to put down a credit card in order to secure treatment. They would not move them out of the ICU or the emergency room into an ICU suite until they had a credit card with a payment that went through. That is absolutely crazy. Also, if you remember in one of my previous videos, which I'll link to above, that there was a passenger on a cruise ship that landed in Progreso, and that person got sick and had to go to the hospital in Progreso. Well, Tyler Perry had to pay this man's bill in order for him to be able to come back to the United States. So that's how serious they are about showing you the money. And then recently in one of the expat groups, one of the wives of a person that was hospitalized in Merida said that the insurance company required the hospital required 50,000 US dollars in order to continue with surgeries that this person needed, which was pretty life-threatening. You know, they needed like open heart surgery, and they needed $50,000 to continue with the process of treatment in order for, you know, that person to receive care. Luckily, he survived. They got the money sent over and worked out an arrangement, but they will not treat you beyond stabilization when it comes to surgeries and things of that nature in Mexico unless you show them the money. It got me to really thinking, whenever folks visit, that, hey, you know, they may need to consider buying traveler's insurance, so that at least they have some type of insurance that, you know, will get them over the hump. Because if you don't have several thousands of dollars on your credit card, that might be an issue for you. So to continue with the story, the patient was released much later than expected. It wasn't 11 a.m. It was more like 4 or 5 p.m. that evening before they actually got released, because again, the hospital was waiting on payment. Now, fast forward a few days later, the patient gets a call saying, hey, could you come back down to the hospital? We forgot some paperwork for you to sign. Well, when they got there, they were like, hey, I know we told you this was 100% covered, but it's covered 100% after your deductible of, you know, several $1,000s, which wasn't really a big deal because the patient had a credit card. But it was a bit of a bummer to find out that that, you know, there was this deductible that they had to satisfy. So even still, with everything being covered 100%, they still had to pay several thousands of dollars of deductible in order for the treatment or the coverage to take in effect. And you better have, you know, money in the bank or a credit card with, you know, a couple $1,000s on it to cover your deductibles if you have high deductibles with your U.S. insurance policy. So paying the bills at a hospital in Mexico have you sweating like this. It is not a joke. I'm telling you, make sure you get that taken care of. You have some form of a protection in place, whether that's insurance here in the country or some type of traveler's insurance. If you already live here, you should be definitely getting, you know, some type of insurance for major hospitalization, because it can ruin your experience if you don't. All right, so despite the little hiccup with the deductible being outstanding and them calling the patient back, they wanted me to make sure that you guys understood how awesome this hospital is. They said that the care was exceptional, that it was the best service that they had ever received at or even seen at any hospital. They also said that in the surgery room that it was completely state of the art. It had this huge flat screen wall of panels that were like touch screen, that had all the medical records up on the screen and all of that kind of stuff. And you could tell that it was like a two-way collaboration type of thing. Again, this hospital was built, from what I understand, for medical tourism. So it does not surprise me that they have all of the state-of-the-art equipment. It's also fairly small, which means that I guess the staff is really, you know, well-tuned and really attentive to the patients, because they can only take so many. So it was an absolutely outstanding experience. I'm gonna try to do a video in the future just on EME RED. Go by, tour the facility, maybe talk to them about how this process works with the insurance, US insurance carriers. But it was an outstanding experience. And the reality is, you know, had this happen with this person in the United States, with all that's going on with the pandemic, they may not have been able to receive treatment for several weeks. So it was a huge blessing that it happened here in Mexico. They went to one of the very best hospitals in the state, probably in the country, in EME RED, and everything turned out well. I want to make sure that I stress to you guys in this video, if you get nothing else, definitely do not come here without some form of insurance, or at least being able to take care of, you know, a major incident, because hospitalizations can break your bank. And I've said that before in my insurance video. I'm saying it again. This is my second time having an experience with the emergency room, and I really want you to be prepared if anything happens and not ruin your trip. If you like this video, do me a favor, leave me thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and ring that bell. I appreciate your time and attention. Until next time, MexitPlans Monty, I'm out.